Welcome back to Crunch Time. And today we're going to be talking about the Brooklyn Nets. Like I said, we're back to around the association. Uh, and yeah, let's talk Nets. All right, so first things first, I changed the logo for this and I added an intro. So hope that goes well. I hope that just helps it seem a little more well made. I'm trying to, add improvisations as we keep going on. You've probably seen me change the microphone like 4 times. I've changed the camera. I know that probably is hard to tell, but I did. And yeah, really done a lot of stuff trying to make the show as good as I can with what I have until I can keep making it better, trying to make improvements as much as I can. And I thought the old logo looked pretty bland, so made a new one. That's a little bit better. So Brooklyn Nets, first team that we're going to talk about that did not make the playoffs. So I started out the last 3 episodes with, oh, this team did this and this and this and this and this in the playoffs, and they lost or they blew a 3-1 lead or they came back from down 3-1 or they won a championship. Really, that's what I last did. But the Brooklyn Nets didn't make the playoffs, and that wasn't all that surprising. However, this year is a little bit different for the Nets because they don't have their first round pick this year, and there's a new lottery. So they really have no reason to not try to build a competent roster. And you really saw that this year with, the first real move of the offseason being Julius Randle getting traded. I think it was on the same day as Giannis, right? It was just a little bit before getting traded there for a second round pick. And then Claxton went somewhere and they got a first round pick for it too. And who did that first round pick end up being? Well, it ended up being Joshua Jefferson. So they received that pick from Minnesota. And all they had to give up was the number 31 pick. So yeah, that was pretty good haul for them. They definitely were like, hey, we'll take on Julius Randle's bad contract because even though he is not a great player, he's still a player that can give us a win here and there, somewhere where we can set ourselves in a good direction, right? Because they don't have their first round pick because of the James Harden trade. Yeah, we're in the time where that James Harden trade from Houston is now coming into effect, right? We've seen the Clippers picks getting robbed by the Thunder because of the Shea trade, but now we're in a trade that took place in 2021 for a superstar is now coming into effect. That's kind of crazy, and the Rockets have kind of made out well from it. So yeah. Anyways, Nets. What am I thinking? No one is thinking the Nets are gonna be a good team. The East is really good this year. The Nets are going to miss the playoffs. I would put my life savings on that. I do not think this team is good at all. However, it's made a lot of additions. So Keon Ellis signed a multi-year contract with them at a free agency, and then so did Mo Wagner from the Magic. They took Mo away from Franz, so there is no more brotherly love in that city of Orlando. But they took him out there, and Mo Wagner and Keon Ellis are solid NBA players. Keon Ellis has that defensive ability to him, and Mo Wagner is a little bit more of he's not very good. I'm trying to be optimistic with these, but Mo Wagner's not very good, but he's fine. He should be on a team, and he is. That's he's a roster spot. But yeah, we still got Jaeger Demon, who's been fantastic in Summer League, and yeah, it is only Summer League. And as a Warriors fan, I gotta keep telling myself that because we did win the Summer League championship, which means absolutely nothing. However, you know what else means nothing? Signing no one in free agency, which the Nets did not do because they did sign those 2 players I was talking about. And they drafted Michael Brown and Joshua Jefferson, like I said in the first round. Michael Brown is really good. I think he can really be I wouldn't say star. I'd say maybe he could be a few-time All-Star. He's not, I wouldn't say All NBA guy. Maybe a one-time All NBA guy. He could sneak in there 1 year with a few injuries or something like that. But he's definitely a good pick. I would have taken Acuff if I was them, but Acuff's team seemed to be set on sending him to Sacramento. So there's not much you can do there. But yeah, and that's kind of bleak team. This is definitely not going to be a high viewed video, but I gotta cover them. So I look on the Nets. Well, they did lose Nick Claxton, so Day'Ron Sharpe is going to be their starting center. Who I like Day'Ron Sharpe. I liked him for a long time. I think he's been solid backup center, and he can really take the role from Claxton. I do think Claxton was good, so that's a loss. And Zaire Williams and Ochai Agbaji, they're uh they're good players too. However, I think Brooklyn's trying to go for a new identity here, so they still got Michael Porter Jr., who started off amazing last year, and he kind of slowed down in the second half of the season, but I think he could replicate that season for sure. And Julius Randle will be there. I don't think the Nets are going to be a team that you can just sit your best players against, if that makes sense. Right? With Philly, they're going to play the Nets 4 times. They're probably going to rest, some of their guys 1 or 2 of the times, but I don't think they're going to be like, oh, we can rest them all 4 times versus the Nets because they're an easy one. And maybe Philly will do it a little bit more because they have guys that they're gonna need to rest, and they probably are the worst or second worst team in the Eastern Conference. So it's not like they have better options to rest against. So if you're gonna rest LeBron and Embiid, might as well be against the Nets. But I feel like you'll see a lot more stars playing versus the Nets because their roster is a little more competent. And honestly, coming into this, I was thinking that there might be a chance they could squeak into the playoffs or something, but no, that's not happening, dude. Looking at this roster, I don't see a world. Jordy Fernandez is a really good coach, and I think that he can definitely elevate this team to a what do you call it? Like not to a playoff team, but like they could maybe get the 10th seed or 9th seed, depending. Like maybe some of these teams that we're thinking of that were like rating pretty highly are gonna fall down, and if that happens, that sucks. But that's just how the world works sometimes. So I can't imagine that the Nets are gonna be very good next year, like I said. But I think it'll be fun in a way. I think I'll really like to see Igor Jemin and maybe Danny Wolf takes a leap, or someone like Ben Serif, anyone of their fucking 14 guards they drafted last year can maybe make that jump into some type of role player, because they had 5 first round picks last year, and so far only Gem, and it seems if I'm if anyone's now if anyone's annoyed that I'm pronouncing Demon or like Gemin or Jomin, I keep merging them, so please just it's a hard name. Jomin. Jaeger Jomin. I'm gonna say Demon, it sounds cooler. But yeah, Demon's cool for sure. I like Jaeger. Um, yeah, there's not much to talk about with this team, just like the Knicks, though. So it's definitely going to be a challenge to, they're gonna lose a lot of games, and someone's gonna lose games this year, and it's always hard in the off season because you're like, oh, this team, they've made moves. Oh, they haven't made moves, but they have Steph Curry, so But it's like with this team, it's like, yeah, they made moves, but yeah, Julius Randle did. Like, does that move me? No. You got Mo Wagner. Does that move me? No. If you had a bad draft, I would be so out on this team. This would be the worst team I've ever seen. But yeah, I unfortunately for the Rockets, I don't think the Nets are going to be very good this year. So they're going to have they're going to have low lottery odds because they're probably going to have a top 3 worst record in the league with the new lottery format. So yeah, definitely something to work around with the Nets. I personally, like I said, I don't think this team's gonna be very good at all. But maybe they could. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they do. But yeah, this team, it's not a playoff team. It could be 1 or 2 years away from being a playoff team. Maybe they make a big splash in this upcoming free agency because it is a big one. So you never know. But yeah, anyways, that's gonna do it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. And if anyone got it to this point in the video, I would be shocked. So if you can, leave a like and subscribe or follow if you're watching on Spotify. And if you are watching on Spotify, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. We're really trying to do something here and make good podcasts. And if you have any recommendations or suggestions, let me know if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm stuttering too much, if I'm talking too fast. Let me know. I can try to work on that because I definitely think I'm talking too fast. And yeah, if there's anything I can do, let me know. But yeah, this team's gonna be ass. I can't lie. This team's gonna be fucking awful. Thank you guys for watching.